Hello, I'm Neil Stanley for the Uzit-Bait Innovations. Today I'm going to run you through my boilie of choice out of the range. That is the peanut. I'm going to tell you how I apply it, how I prepare it, and how I make myself stand out from the anglers fishing next to me. So as I said, my choice of bait is the peanut. I use it in various sizes. I've got in here 14s, 18s and barrels. So predominantly a lot of my fishing is done in the Somerset levels, which the area is very peaty, the lakes are very silty, so obviously I prepare my bait a bit different so that the lake bed does not taint the bait. So I'm just going to run you through my mixes. Basically the mix I use for early spring, summer and early autumn, and then my winter mix. So for my early spring mix, onwards through to sort of early mid-autumn, what I'll do is I'll take the standard baits. I use freezer baits. I find they take on the liquids a little bit better. Usually do sort of anything 1.5 to 2.5 kilos at a time. Do a good mix for a session. So basically you put the boilies in there. Like I say, you can do this with shelf life. I do like to dry them out for 12 to 18 hours just so they take on a bit more liquid. Straight out of the freezer, defrost them. As soon as they're defrosted, the preparation starts. So this is the peanut oil. It's based around hemp oil, so it's good for all year use, even though I only use it in the summer. So basically what I do is I'll measure this out at home, anywhere sort of 30 to 35 mil on 1.5 to 2 kilos of boilie. Liberally cover the baits with that. Give them a good roll around, like that. And then all the baits are glazed. I'll then leave that for 12 hours and then repeat the process again. So that's a total of about 60 to 65 mil of hemp oil, of peanut oil going over the top. So when that's complete, I then move on to the next stage, which is adding the peanut glug. So the peanut glug then goes on. This is a lot stickier and a lot, as you'll see as it comes out, it's a lot thick. There's bits of peanut meal in there and everything. So that then goes all over, liberally applied. As I say, with that, probably about the same dosage as you've used with the peanut oil. Again, good mix around. And as you'll see, they're all sticky and gooey. Obviously, as more time goes on, they'll take on more glug. I normally leave that about 6 hours, then repeat the process again, and then repeat the process for the third time. So once they're all prepared, had the oil infused, had the glug on, I then go for the ground bait. Again, a liberal dose of ground bait on top of them, just to give them a coating. Give them a good swill around, making sure all the baits are covered. And as you can see, in that very short space time, that's transformed that boilie from a standard out the bag boilie into a highly attractive boilie. Just to show you some that I've already done, to give you a comparison. So these are your standard straight out the bottom boilies, and these are the prepared ones. As you can see, there's quite a different colour differentiation in them. Obviously that's all the oils and glug and everything infused into them. So that is my early spring, summer and early autumn mix. So as the temperatures dip and that, I start to think about digestibility, how quickly it passes through the fish, and obviously not to bung them up. So then I move on to my winter mix, which is prepared by putting some boilies, same again, straight out of the freezer or your shelf life. Again, your shelf life, it doesn't matter about drying them out or anything, you can use them straight out of the bag. Put them into a bucket and then cover them with water. So once you cover them, once they're all covered with water, you then put the lid on, leave them for a minimum of 24 hours. So once 24 hours has gone by, you then take your boilies and get them between your hands and scrunch them all up. Make sure that there's no whole boilies in there, and that all the boilies are broken. So once that's complete, I'll then add the peanut ground bait, which is to alter the consistency of the mix. What you'll find is all the goodness out of the boilies is retained in the water, so you're not losing anything by doing it this way. Normally when you wash out the baits, you wash out the baits and most people throw the water away. Obviously this method keeps the goodness of the boilie, so everything that's come out of the boilie in the 24, 36 hours, however long you choose to leave them, is still in the mix. So you then obviously So obviously, yeah, once you then add your peanut ground bait on top. Obviously, bear in mind that that's all mashed up. So just put a bit of ground bait in, mix it all up, and you'll get a nice consistency. And obviously that will stodge the mix up, making it easier if you want to spom it out, etc, etc. And then finally, I add about 1/3 of a bottle of the V-Cloud. This will cloud the water, and obviously with this mushed up mix you'll get attraction throughout the water column. Obviously you get the heavier bits that drop straight to the bottom, you'll get the light bits that are floating mid-water, and then obviously you get the very light bits that are virtually at the surface. So that will leak off right throughout the water column. And in true Blue Peter fashion, this is what the end mix looks like. So it's all mushed up, there's nothing solid in there, it is all liquid and very digestible, go through the carp very quick, won't fill them up, etc, etc. So my other tip for the winter, which I don't see many people using, is the paste. I use a lot of paste in the winter. You can use it however you want to fish, whatever your preferred fishing method is. I do a lot of fishing with the pellet. From the range there's 4.5 and 6 mil pellet. In the winter I like to mix probably about 50-50 of fishing actual boilies straight out the bag, and obviously hand rolled paste. Keeps the attraction level going. Obviously the paste will break down a lot quicker, keep the attraction, instant attraction, and the boilies will break out over a minute of time. So what I do is I grab a handful of paste, a handful of pellets, like so, and then I'll feed that. As you can see, all the pellet is in the paste. If you work it, it gives you a nice little ball to flow out. Obviously that will break down over time, the attraction of the paste, the attraction of the pellet. You've then got constant attraction in your swim again, similar to the sort of type of effect I'm trying to replicate with the summer and spring, early autumn mix. And obviously, like I say, you haven't got the hard skin on the boilie, so that will leak out. And then you've obviously, that's pretty instant from the paste, and you've got the longevity of the pellets in there as well. But you can use anything you want with it. I use pellets, you can use hemp, whatever your chosen preference is. Get it in the paste, give it a good working, and it'll all work out, and then you can throw it out. And that's my winter mixes.